Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Mouse Minds. We are here live on YouTube, streaming for you live on YouTube. Hopefully, I sound okay. I know my mic was having issues. It's always fun having new things to play with, so yay for that. And this week we have sound effects. Yay! Oh, we did have sound effects. I guess we don't have sound
Yay for
effects
sound
anymore.
effects.
There was a button, but it's not working anymore. Oh well, that happens. But we are here live on YouTube, streaming for you live, and of course recording for all your favorite podcast platforms. I am joined this week by Luella, Br-
Hello.
Brittany.
Hello.
She's no longer upside down, and we're very happy about that. And we have Lisa.
Hi, everyone.
All right, so we are going to kick things off here. Now, this week I wanted to give us kind of an, I say an easier topic, but a nice topic for discussion. Just because, like I said, I'm dealing with new tech stuff, so it's always fun dealing with that when we're doing a show here. But what I wanted to do for you guys this week, or I wanted to have you guys discuss is, we talk a lot about the parks and things like that. Obviously, that's something that all of us have done tons of times. But I think we all have those things inside the parks that are kind of those hidden gems that we, sometimes not too many people know about the little quiet places off to the side that maybe not too many people explore, those little things that make that space amazing, so on and so forth. So I wanted to take this opportunity here for everybody to kind of give their input on what is some of their hidden gems, and this would be really awesome because we have both coasts covered here, especially with Luella being on the West Coast there. So this should be a really awesome topic for discussion. So I will kick it off for you guys here. I will send it to you guys here, I should say. I'm going to send it off to Lisa to kick things off. I randomly picked her. I don't know why. But we'll send it out to Lisa so she can kick things off and kind of give us some of her hidden gems.
Yikes. Start with me here. I just learned the topic, and now you're going to throw it to me.
Well, I can throw it to someone else if someone else wants to do it. It's
well,
okay.
Are you talking like attractions, food,
Anything. It could be anything. But
anything?
it could be anything.
So I think that there are hidden gems like in individual hotel resorts. I think there's hidden gems in parks. I
What
would say some that I like include like at Magic Kingdom, there when you have a whole gaggle of children with you, there, kids get cranky and tired during the day, but like there are places that you can cool off. Let's say over across from Barnstormer and at the I don't know what that's called, the circus, the water area. I've seen kids and adults alike get soaked from the water. That's a fun little place to cool off. There's bathrooms right there. You can um, spend quite a bit of time there. I also like the little features around the park um, that are like photo features. So there are things that are built in that are very picturesque. Let's say Snow White's what's it called? Fountain? Is it Snow White?
Yes, on the side of the castle.
Really good. You can get some really good pictures, and it is
Hmm.
in the middle of a pathway, but it's not like out in the middle, so you can have a little bit of quiet time there. And I don't know. Those are a couple at Magic Kingdom. I can kick it off to someone else if someone else has some that they want to talk about.
All right, who wants to go next?
I can see that if you have ever been to Disneyland and ever ridden on the train, you should really do one full loop. Or if you're not going to do a full loop, at least get on from Tomorrowland and ride it to Main Street. There's a really awesome diorama in there that's not seen at Walt Disney World. And if you only take the train halfway through, you'll miss it. And it takes you to the Grand Canyon and, uh, prehistoric times. It's actually a throwback to the 1963 World's Fair, when Walt Disney sponsored that back in New York in 1963-64. So I think that's a really nice hidden gem that a lot of people miss. And I would say also to ride the train that faces the inside. My son calls it the one that faces inside, not the Walt Disney World train, because the Walt Disney World train faces forward, and they have one of those, but there's one that faces inside, and it really is a nice view of the diorama if you're facing directly versus facing sideways. So I think that's a fun hidden gem. It doesn't cost any extra. You just have to get on at the right part of the train.
That's a really good tip because not everyone would know that.
Yes, not a lot of people know that.
Mm-mm.
It's not on the brochure or the pamphlet.
That is an awesome tip. That is really awesome. Now, Brittany, do you have any for anything that you? What's your favorite hidden gem?
Honestly, the first one that comes to mind is the Harmony Barbershop in Magic Kingdom. I kind of feel like that gets overlooked a lot. That holds a special place in my heart because we actually did my daughter's first haircut there. She had just turned a year old. It was her first trip to Disney. She didn't really need a haircut, but I wanted the memory of it being at Disney World. And I think it's just cute the way that I don't know, at least for the kids, they get like their ears that say my first haircut, the certificate, and the little locks of hair with the confetti. And the cast members are phenomenal working with the kids. So for me, I feel like that's something that kind of gets overlooked because it's just in that corner, like right when you come in. And even when we took our daughter there, there's like nobody hanging out over there. So I don't
Hmm.
know. To me, I kind of think that that's a hidden gem because I didn't even know about it until I think my husband, when we were planning our Disney trip with her, he found it and I was like, oh, we should do that. So to me, that's kind of a neat little hidden gem.
I totally agree with you there. I have had plenty of haircuts at the barber shop. Michael, who used to work there, he doesn't work there anymore, was my exclusive barber there for a while because, quite honestly, you'd be surprised to find that at the Harmony Barber Shop that the haircuts are actually reasonably priced. They're not like super expensive, and for what you get, because you obviously number one get a haircut on Main Street, which is really cool, and number two, you also you can get pixie dusted. They'll throw stuff in your hair, which is impossible to get out of your shower. I know from experience. But they'll throw things in your hair. They'll do crazy colors in your hair, like that'll wash out, things like that. So it's a really awesome experience, and they do that first haircut experience where they not only give your child the first haircut, but they'll also do the Mickey ears, and it says my first haircut and the whole thing. So that is a really good one, and I think that little corner back there, right by the Emporium is often overlooked, and I honestly don't think that people know that's there, and for a while there, for me even, because, it's one of those things that shut down with COVID and everything else, and then I was always wondering, "Did they bring it back? Did they bring it back?" And I actually went and looked recently because I was curious, and they did bring it back, so it's really nice to see, uh, that in the parks and really enjoy and be able to enjoy that because you know it's one of those small touches that um really makes Main Street fun. So I totally agree with you there. Now I will tell you though, if you are planning on doing that, they do take advanced reservations for that, and I highly recommend it. So please, 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 look on the Disney website, or I think you can do it in the app as well. So make sure you check the app and do that. But you will get um I don't I'll say this, it's um in regards to you're not going to get a Mickey Mouse haircut. It is a real deal haircut. It is they are fantastic barbers. They will definitely take care of you. male or female. They do everybody, and it is just a fantastic. And honestly, like you can get, I've had a haircut there, and I've had a haircut at the Trellis Spa at the Grand Floridian, and I can honestly tell you that they're both uh, extremely good haircuts, and you pay a quarter of the price on Main Street as you would at the Trail Spa, which makes absolutely no sense. But it is what they have going on. So definitely a great addition there. Now, one of the things that I wanted to kind of touch on, and you guys can tell me too, is all the things around the parks that I think people overlook, the hidden details, things like that. Number 1 for me would be finding the Pascals in the Tangled bathrooms, searching around for the little Pascals and doing that and finding all those in that Tangled section there. That is a lot of fun. And then number 2, I mean, it's not really talked about that much anymore, but the books are still out there. The hidden Mickeys, finding hidden Mickeys. They're all over the parks. I I had a funny story. One time I was in America in the American Pavilion, and I was in the back, and there's supposedly a hidden Mickey in one of the paintings back there. And the cast member looked at me and he's like, "You're looking for 3 circles, aren't you?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, instead of looking for 3 circles, how about you look at the painting?" And he was telling me about the painting, and it was really fascinating. But yeah, I mean, I've done that many a times, just wandering around the parks looking for those hidden Mickeys. Get the books. They sell the guides at Disney or in the parks. Get those books and look at those and find out where those Mickeys are, so on and so forth. So that is another way to further enhance your day. And these things, these little hidden gems, the things that are already going on inside the park. Um, and they're no extra cost. That's the great thing about these as well. Like for example, one of the areas that I think is often overlooked at Magic Kingdom is Tom Sawyer Island. Tom Sawyer Island is a lot of fun. I mean, going to the island, going to the fort, going to the cave. I mean, it's a nice place to explore, and there's honestly never anyone over there. So, you can just sit, relax in the chairs, or have the kids run around the fort. There's a lot of cool things to do over there, and I think it's often overlooked. And all you got to do is take the little raft over there and have a lot of fun at that. So it's a really unique experience for everybody. A lot of fun. Do you guys have any more of your favorites?
There's so many.
That's
But
true. It's hard to pin them down.
we shared one about a park. I'm going to share one about the Disneyland Hotel, and not many people sometimes have the opportunity to stay there, but anyone can walk in. And what's really nice is they have a model of Big Thunder Mountain in the Frontierland Tower, a real large model with trees and everything. And I think that's a nice hidden gem. And even if you're staying at the hotel and you're not staying at the Frontier Tower, you might not see it, but you can enjoy yourself and get lost in looking at the model. And every tower actually has a little bit of a gem. They have a new tower that just got built, and there's a beautiful artwork. And sometimes you don't think that you're able to walk in there if you're not staying there, but you can go into the lobby. And so I think there's a lot of nice hidden gems of artwork, of history at the Disneyland Hotel. So I'd encourage anyone who goes there just to kind of walk by and see each tower and see all the different little nuggets in every single corner. Oh no, he stepped away. He's not there.
He did step away.
Oh no, and stuff. But I guess we can continue. Maybe he'll be back. There he is.
I apologize for that. Technical difficulties. All right. So what? I apologize. I didn't catch anything of what you said, Llewellyn. So you said Disneyland Hotel. I caught that part. But what was your real briefly? What was your favorite pick?
They have 4 towers there. One of them is new.
Mm-hmm.
It's their DVC tower. But in each tower in the lobby, you're allowed to walk
Yes.
around, and there's each tower has something unique you can see. For example, I was mentioning in the Frontier Tower, there's a big model of Big Thunder Mountain, which is it's humongous, it's huge. And then
Mhm.
I don't know the if that was a model for the ride or but I think it's neat to look at. And I know there's some information there. I just can't remember the plaque that says. But they have some maquettes of the Jungle Book in the Adventureland Tower. There's a really big, nice art piece in the new DVC Tower. And in the Fantasy Tower, there's lots of old photos of celebrities at Disneyland, which is really fun. Like 1950s celebrities with Walt Disney. Plus, there's a collection of all these old Mickey Mouse toys by Goofy's Kitchen, a whole wall full. And sometimes I'm looking in there, it's like, I know I had that toy when I was young. I wonder how much it's worth now. you know?
Where I think it's on the where there's like a wall that has
Mhm.
like the history of the Disneyland Hotel. I think it's in the main building. Like if you're going towards like the convention area, like the convention, like the ballrooms, there's like a wall where they have I can't remember the last time I was there, I saw it, and it was like it had like banners from like Disneyland. It said like the Disneyland Hotel. It was right on the wall there. They still have that.
Well, on one side of that wall is the history of the Disneyland Hotel. On the other side, it's
That's what I'm talking about.
a bunch of toys from the 30s, the 40s, the 50s. Old toys, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. There's some toys in there I had when I was a child. And it's the whole wall. So it's the Disneyland Hotel really pays homage to Disneyland 1950.
They
Like,
really do, and then they have that amazing display as you walk in with the map of the park and everything else. Are they did at least the last time I stayed there, right as kind of like you walk in there where it's kind of lit up and there's some lights on there and things like that. That is really beautiful.
yeah, that's there. They change it during Christmas. In Christmas, it turns to Christmas decorations. In Halloween, I think it changes to Haunted Mansion. So it's ever changing, but it's a nice hidden gem, I think. If you want to cool off and you're not staying at the Disneyland Hotel, you can still go there. And then, also it's a lot different than Walt Disney World. That hotel is walking distance from the park.
Yeah.
You don't need to take any tram or monorail or bus. You could take the monorail but it's anyone can walk in there. And then plus that's where Trader Sam's is. So if you want to take a
Yes.
break, it's at the Disneyland Hotel.
Trader Sam's and the monorail pool with the monorail slide.
Yeah.
Lots of fun times I've had there.
Yeah. That's another fun hidden gem.
Yes, the monorail pool is fantastic. Now, one of the things I will say that I think that um, people are another hidden gem at Walt Disney World at least is the boat rentals. I think a lot of people don't take advantage of the boat rentals at Disneyland or sorry, Disney World, and it's a unique experience. You can catch a boat at any of the major, uh, like the Polynesian, the Grand Floridian, Contemporary. They have the pontoon boats that you can actually take on to the Seven Seas Lagoon and actually be driving on the same water. I mean, they have, you're on the same waters as the ferry boats and so on and so forth. So it is a fantastic point of view for you to see there. And you can drive to Bay Lake, you can drive to the Grand Floridian, wherever you want to go, you can drive to in the pontoon boat and you can rent them for an hour. And it's actually very reasonable to rent those pontoon boats. So that's another fun thing that you can do, if you just want to experience something different at Walt Disney World. I know they used to be a bigger thing when they had the smaller, like they used to call them Sprite boats, but they were a little smaller, like two-person boats. But they don't really have those anymore, but they do have those big pontoon boats, which are awesome. And they also do fishing too. If you like to fish, they do fishing on those as well. Um, and speaking of that, that brings me to another place that I love dearly that has a lot of hidden gems, and that's Fort Wilderness. Exploring Fort Wilderness, the campgrounds at Walt Disney World is fantastic. There are so many things. to do there between the meadows in the back with the playground and the shopping, or not, or sorry, the settlement in the back with the shopping and the playground and the Clementine Beach and all the things going on there. And then you have the meadows, which has the Chippendale, um, the campfire sing along, and so on and so forth. And these are things like you can hop on a boat from Magic Kingdom, take a boat over to Fort Wilderness, and go experience these events going on at Fort Wilderness. They don't require any additional entry fee or anything like that. If you want to buy s'mores, you can buy a s'mores kit for like $10, and they give you the sticks and the marshmallows and everything else you need to make s'mores. So that is a lot of fun, and I think Fort Wilderness, unless you're really staying there, people kind of often overlook it as a place to go. But I mean, between that and Hoop-Dee-Doo Review and Trails End and all the wonderful things out there, and just being in nature and walking around, there's so many nature trails out there. If you want to break from the parks and you want to you know, just kind of get lost in the woods for a little while, Fort Wilderness is an excellent escape. Excellent escape.
I have yet to. I mean, I've been to Fort Wilderness. I've seen
Mhm.
that Hoop-Dee-Doo Review, but I haven't
Mhm.
explored there. So that would be neat.
It's very neat to explore, and the cool thing about Fort Wilderness is there's a lot of I as my friend Kevin, you would say, hidden history. There's a lot of hidden history there. You can see things like the old railroad track that used to be there that used to take people from the front of the park to the back to River Country and things like that. And you can even kind of get close to where River Country used to be. You can see the Tri-Circle D Ranch where they have the horses that they use all over the parks. They're just hanging out there. So there's a lot of it's jam packed with stuff to do, more so than I would say any of the resorts on property. I know it's they have a lot of people there that um, utilize those amenities more than going to the park, so maybe that's why they have more of those amenities there. But they do have a ton of amenities on site at that property. Now, going back to the resorts for a second, one of my um favorite places to go at the Polynesian is the lounge located next to Ohana, the Tambu Lounge. And the reason why I like going there, because a lot of people don't know this, if you really enjoy the Ohana food, you can actually get it at the Tambu Lounge, and you don't have to, uh, have a reservation um, for the Cambu Lounge like you would say Ohana. So you can slide in there if you just want to have some pot stickers or if you want to have some of the bread pudding. You can order these things, and of course they have amazing drinks as well. But you can order all these things right off the bar and just walk up and have a casual dinner there and not have to, number one, pay the price for a character meal, and number two, have to deal with getting a reservation for Ohana, which can be sometimes very difficult because it is a very popular restaurant. So that's another hidden gem inside the resorts. Lisa, do you have any more?
I was thinking of I was thinking of the wilderness lodge, being
Hmm.
able to see like the electrical or the water pageant, being able to go out way past, go out to the dock, take the ferry rides. Um, there's so much to see at the
Hmm.
Wilderness Lodge, and then I was also thinking about all of the things. I know we were kind of just hanging around in Magic Kingdom, but like at oh my goodness, Animal Kingdom Lodge. Sorry, took it. My brain went blank for a second. So at Animal Kingdom Lodge, going to watch the animals, seeing the giraffes up close, all of the things that you can do um, there at Animal Kingdom Lodge as well.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a great one. Really getting out there and seeing those animals. getting up close and personal. I mean, as up close and personal as you can get, but I mean, you get pretty close to them. And if you are going to go to that, I recommend going to Kidani Village, which is where the safari or which is where Sanaa is, just because you get a better vantage point. And if you eat at Sanaa, which is an amazing restaurant, they have a nice mix of traditional kind of American dishes, but they have some really good Indian food as well. Some amazing curry there. If you and then the bread service, you have to get the bread service. But Sanaa, if you eat there, you actually overlook the Serengeti or the plains out there, and you get to see all the animals. And I've had countless dinners there where, you know, animals have walked right up to the window and just sit there right next to you while you're eating your meal. And that is just something that, I mean, where else does that happen? That doesn't happen all the time. So that is a fantastic experience. And then after your meal, you walk right down the hallway. You take a left out into the little area there, the savannah area. And there it is. You have the animals right there in front of you. You can hang out there. There's rocking chairs out there. There's a fire pit out there. I believe sometimes they do marshmallows, the s'mores out there. So that's a theme. Most resorts have s'mores most deluxe resorts have s'mores of some point or some kind at some point. Um, but but they do have s'mores outside for you to partake in. Typically while you're out there watching the animals and so on and so forth. So it's a great experience. And that's another one, eating at the restaurant and that there's no admission required for that. It's one of those things that you can do. If you're staying on property and you're just looking for something different, you don't want to do a park day, or you have a free day that's not a park day, go to Sanaa, have a dinner, and enjoy the animals. That's an excellent experience. Now, I will say, moving into Epcot here, I wanted to share a couple here that I have for Epcot that I consider hidden gems. Number one would be the gardens in the back of the UK Pavilion. Now, if you've been to Epcot, and I know a lot of people don't like to venture into the back of the UK Pavilion. They kind of pass through, either go to the Rose and Crown, or they go to maybe a little bit of the shops in the front there, and then they kind of pass through. But the gardens in the back are a great experience. It's nice and quiet back there, um, as long as they're not doing live music. But they do live music back there, and the band that usually plays back there, British Invasion, they do a nice mix of bands that came from uh, that that side of the world. So they are back there playing great music, and you can just sit back there, relax, kind of enjoy a nice relaxing atmosphere. There's even like a little maze in the front there by the stage that the kids can walk through and have a lot of fun. It's actually quite fun, and you never see a lot of people back there. They also do during Flower and Garden. They kind of open up some of that area for a walkthrough on tea. The Twinnings always does a kind of like a they have like some tea plants back there, and they do a little display and teach you about tea and how it's made and so on and so forth. So that is really nice back there. And then you also have in the Japan Pavilion, you have the Kawaii Museum, which is a favorite of my daughter because she's obsessed with Kawaii. Hello Kitty, all the happiness that is Kawaii in Japan, and they have an excellent museum on the history of that, and it's actually very fascinating to see a lot of the uh, characters and kind of learn their origin story and learn a little bit more about them. And for something inside a Disney park, it's actually really well done. So it's definitely worth checking out. It's just something it is kind of off the beaten path. You kind of have to walk back and into the back and to the left, and you'll see it. But it is a lot of fun back there.
I like the back of Epcot. There's a lot of fun things just to explore and roam around.
There really is. It when you get in one of my favorite places to explore is the back of Morocco, because when you get back there and you get kind of lost in that like maze back there, you really almost feel like you're in Morocco. You can't see anything else. You can't see giant spaceship Earth. You just see these giant buildings, and it looks like you're in Morocco. And you get lost kind of in the open shops, and they have the character meet and greet back there, and just kind of exploring that area. They have a little museum in there as well. So it's actually very pretty back there. The same with China. Getting lost back in China has an amazing shop in the
Yeah.
back there, the House of Good Fortune, which I've shopped in numerous times. They have all kinds of jewelry and just little knickknacks here and there. And it's really like it's really awesome stuff. And they even have a store in the back that has in the back of there that has like souvenirs that you can take home that are really inexpensive. They have some really inexpensive souvenirs back there and things like that. So it's really neat to you're right. You got to take the time to with all the Epcot pavilions, you really have to take your time and explore them because you're missing out on a lot if you
Mhm.
don't really step into them and really look around. Even places like Germany, France. France has a whole section on perfumes and colognes and things like that in the back there, which is absolutely one of the. I mean, honestly, for the Orlando area, our area in general, some of the best, one of the best shops in town to actually buy perfumes and colognes because they have such a vast selection, all from France, and then of course they have the same in Italy as well. So it's very, it's very nice, and you just got to take the time to really explore. I think that's kind of the point of this whole episode is really taking your time and exploring all of what the parks have to offer. Finding those little back pathways or little narrow pathways or really exploring a resort, every nook and cranny. Because I think when we travel to the parks, a lot of times, especially people that travel maybe once a year or twice a year, we go straight for the big attractions. We go straight to to Test Track or to Tron or whatever else. We don't take the time to really take in some of the hidden things, and that's that's a big deal. There's the one of the things that I always say that Disney is really good at is the details. They're you know the small details. Disney really excels at everything that they do, even just a even if it was just a building with no real purpose but to be like a space, there would be something in there that is something detail oriented in that space that just you won't find anywhere else or that just makes that whole experience. So that's what Disney is really good at, so you really have to take that time to explore.
Yes, definitely.
And the same applies to Disneyland too. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've just gotten lost in Disneyland. I mean, the layout, I'm so used to the way Magic Kingdom's laid out that when I go to Disneyland, I'm instantly confused because I'm like, Tomorrowland's not supposed to be where Tomorrowland is. Frontierland is not supposed to, so I get confused. And then New Orleans Square just when I get to New Orleans Square, my head is just spinning because I'm like, why is this even here? This does not make any sense. So, so, but yeah, I mean, Disneyland, you can really go down some of these alleyways and and really like get lost and really immersed in the uh the area that you're in and you for that moment you really lose sight of the fact that you're in California, you're in the middle of Anaheim. It's like, where am I? And that's what Disney is so good at. They are really good at keeping you immersed in the story, and it's been that way ever since Disneyland was created.
No, definitely. And and it's amazing because it's actually like square footage wise, it's so much smaller than,
Hmm.
Magic Kingdom and everything, but it's like just stuffed to the brim. You walk 2 feet and it's something else. So they
Right.
stuffed every level of it.
For sure. And I know that this may not necessarily be a hidden gem to those that get to go to Disneyland all of the time. But I still love the fact, and I know people that have been to Disneyland that did not know that you could get inside the castle
Mhm.
and go through.
Hmm.
Like, I know that that's not necessarily a hidden gem. It's published places. People know about it, but really, people still miss it. Like completely miss it. Had no
Hmm.
idea they could go. Versus, we can't necessarily do that unless we go to dining at the royal table or Cinderella's royal table. Um,
Yeah, and it's surprisingly a long journey in that little tiny castle, right? You're
it
going
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
downstairs and seeing the whole story of Sleeping Beauty, and
Mhm.
it's a lot of people miss it, and it's not there's not a big sign that says, "Hey, go inside the castle." I
No.
mean, it's this real discreet little door on the left.
I
I
know
agree.
it was very weird for me the first time that I did it because I was like, "Well, why?" Because I'm so used to Walt Disney World, the Castle of Magic Kingdom is just a walkthrough. I mean, there's a giant, mosaic, tile mosaic on the walls and things like that, and that's it. And you walk through, and that's it. And I'm like, wait, there's like an attraction in here, like there's like a walkthrough. Like, what is this? This is not how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it's really fun.
It is.
I was.
It.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just, and I always think about how, when you compare the number of attractions at Walt Disney World versus Disneyland and DCA, they're similar. Like
Hmm.
there's hardly a discrepancy, but in the square mileage of the two, everything is so compact and it feels so homey at DCA and Disneyland. But I also I think some people may not go back to um, oh gosh, what's it called? Where Mickey and Minnie's house and I say Toontown.
Toontown,
That's
yeah.
what it is. I wanted to say that, but having
That's where
interviewed,
Roger Rabbit's Spin is, the best ride
well,
in the
that's what I was
park.
gonna say. Having just interviewed a couple weeks ago on another podcast the author of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, I was thinking, that's that people again. They think, oh, it's just a little walkthrough. It's not a big deal, but there are quite a few things to go see and do in that little area. So
A lot more people go back there now because that's where Mickey's Runaway Railway is.
okay,
Yeah,
Oh,
so
that's
see, I
it's
right.
haven't been
actually
there since
yeah,
that.
it's pretty crowded now because everyone is trying
Oh,
to get to that
That's
attraction.
right.
So it's actually brought a lot more life to that area. That's one of the like e-ticket rides now everyone's trying to get and on.
Hmm.
oh, nice. Well,
Yeah.
that's an added benefit from all of that. Then
Yes. Yes. So, and that is pretty much very similar to Hollywood Studios, except for the queue. The queue is very elaborate. So it's very entertaining to be in that long line. Because, but if you get a lightning lane, you actually miss the queue, and I actually think the queue is a lot of fun. So, you know, one time
Is
line
it
in the queue.
interactive at any point, or is it
Some
just?
points are interactive, but if you're a fan of
Mhm.
the Mickey shorts, those
Oh, okay.
or just all Mickey Mouse
Mhm,
cartoons in general, like Disco Mickey Mouse and everything, that's what
mhm.
it is taking you back to. It's a very well thought out line, very entertaining. But you will miss it if you do Lightning Lane. So it's kind of like ride the line really quick, and then you miss the queue, so you can take turns there. Yeah.
That is really awesome, and that's something that I miss from Main Street. When we used to have the Main Street Theater, and we would have the old Mickey shorts playing on Main Street here at Walt Disney World, and we don't have that anymore. And I would just go in there and watch cartoons for hours. It was an excellent spot, but I do miss that dearly. That truly was a hidden gem at Main Street that eventually just kind of died out for them to put in the Mickey meet and greet, which I understand. The Mickey meet and greet is really awesome, so I get that 100%. But still, kind of bummed to not have that anymore.
Yeah. Well,
But yeah,
yeah, I was
go
gonna.
ahead,
I'll
go
do
ahead.
one last hidden gem. I
Mhm.
think actually a lot of people don't do it, but do any of you play with the Play Disney app at the park?
Yes.
So I'm not sure at Magic Kingdom, but at Disneyland, if you play Play Disney, you will unleash a lot certain magic things that not many people know, because sometimes I'm the only one doing it. And they I think that's a really big hidden gem, and I try to collect achievements. Um, and I know a lot of people don't want to be stuck on their phone, but if you're in line, for example, at Peter Pan, you can unleash Tinkerbell by playing this Play Disney, and nobody
Mhm.
knows. And so I haven't explored it at the Magic Kingdom or everything, but I have to imagine they're making some things just as fun as well.
I
So I
I
think it's a nice hidden gem.
I believe they still have something at Epcot that utilizes that because they had in the past, they had, the, Agent P attraction, and then they had the, oh, they had another one too. I think there was a DuckTales for a while there, but there was a couple of attractions where they had something similar where you could kinda interact with the world around you, using at one point, they gave you a device to do it, and then eventually it turned into the Disney Play app. So I don't know if they still do that at Epcot, but speaking of, um, that, that's another thing at, Magic Kingdom. They have, I can't remember the name now because 'cause it's been so long since I've done it, Pirate's Adventure, which is where you go to, this little, like, stand next to pirates, and they give you a talisman, but I think now you can use your magic band or whatever else, but it's kinda like a scavenger hunt around Adventureland, and there's different things, like, you'll get the cannons to shoot off, and there's all kinds of different things that happen when you utilize this. And there I never see anyone in there, and it's actually quite fun. So if you if you have some time to kill, or you're just looking for something to do that's not a ride, this is a great way to kind of interact with Adventureland. There was a moment there when they were doing that kind of at all the parks, adding these sort of interactive, like Disney uh experiences, and I think this was the last one that they added uh, at the Walt Disney World parks, but it is a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun, and I know at Batu, you can really make some things come alive, at least here in the West Coast. And if you do some of these Play Disney things, and you know, I like to do it and see the people's faces, and they're thinking that maybe they walked by something, but I did it. So, but
That
it's kind of like similar to the Magic Bands, like it's all Bluetooth or controlled, but
mm,
I think that if you have the opportunity and you're in line and you want to play around and do some hidden gems, it's a nice fun thing. We all have our phones anyways,
exactly, and I will say, unlike the Magic Band, the what are they, the Magic Band Plus, or what I forgot what the new Magic Bands are called, but
Yeah,
unlike
Magic
the
Band Plus, yeah.
yeah, Magic Band Plus. Unlike the Magic Band Plus, um, these work the app works a lot better. The Magic Band Plus with the statues was very hit or miss. You'd kind of stand there waving your hand in front of the statue like this, like, and people are looking at you like, "What are you doing?" And you're trying to get the statue to make some sort of sound or do some sort of interaction with you, and it was always hit or miss. A lot of the statues are still there. If you are in the parks and you want to purchase the Magic Band Plus, by all means, you can. A lot of the statues are still there and they still work. They didn't get rid of them after the 50th, so those are still there. But they were very hit or miss. But the Play app is very spot on. I never had any issues with it getting to interact with anything, or have any interactions with any of the stuff around. And I mean, I've you know, to your point, at least at Epcot, I've seen interactions where you have things like pop out of the ground or pop
Yeah,
out of the side of the building, or there's all
it's
kinds of different things that can happen.
it's fun. It's fun.
It adds a little something extra to your day, and it kind of helps, especially like you said, if you're waiting in line. It
Mhm.
gives you something to do while you're waiting in line, and you don't have to, because I mean, regardless of how many, if you buy Genie Plus or Lightning Lane, you're still going to wait in line at some point.
Mhm. Yeah.
so so might as well find something. I've seen that before, but the thing I see the most at Disney, I think, is Heads Up. Everyone's playing Heads Up in line.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I see people playing heads up everywhere.
Yeah, you always see they're like either sitting. They're mostly I see a lot of people sitting, like waiting in line, and then the line stopped, and they're like sitting for a second. They're all playing heads up. So yeah, that is. But yes, that is one of those things that's off. They used to promote the Play app a lot. They used to have signs all over the parks, and then they kind of just stopped, and they because no one it never really took off. I never really saw a ton of people doing it. Um, but yeah, that is one of the things that is. I wish they would. I wish they would make it into a because one of the things that I know a lot of Disney fans love is there's a game on the iPhone that unlocks emojis, like emoji stickers.
Hmm.
Can't remember the name, but that's
Disney
very
emoji.
popular. Yeah, Disney emoji.
Yeah.
I am afraid to play it, so I don't play it because I know I'll get addicted and then I'll want to keep playing it. So I've restrained myself because I don't know if I have time for all that. but I have some friends who play it all the time, and I wish they had something like that with the Play Disney app. I don't know if it's ever given you like anything like emojis or anything special like that you can use outside the parks. That would be a nice feature. Or
Yeah.
if it kind of racked up points or something and you got some sort of prize for it. But I'm surprised I never really tried anything with that. But who knows? And
They have achievements in there, and
hmm
the reason why I was really into the Play Disney app is actually I was lucky enough to do the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser, and everything that
okay.
we had to do had to involve the Play Disney app, and the whole goal was to get the
Ah.
achievements. And so we really got into getting all the achievements
hmm
from the two, and then it just went on trying to get more achievements. And then they had something at D23 where it's kind of like make your emoji, and you had to
hmm
do the Play Disney app. So I think it's a work in progress. Galactic Star Cruiser is no more, and so but they have the technology. They've developed it. Like, how can
hmm
they apply it? So I think that we'll see. If they'll find another way to implement it and get the achievements. Because yeah, and I have all these achievements, but it's just for my app. It'd be great if I can like use those little emojis and send a text to someone with that emoji.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised, especially at Walt Disney World, the amount of tech that is sitting there just kind of dormant. I mean, everything connects to your phone now. So like if you're going through a like test track and you have your ride photo taken, you don't have to like tap your band or anything like that. It'll get sent. It'll pick up your phone and it'll send that. It'll pick up that you're the one getting that photo and it'll send that to you. So little things like that. There's I mean, when you really utilize the Walt Disney My Disney Experience app, it really connects to a lot of things inside and around the parks. And so there's a lot of opportunity there for them to really expand on that and do more interactive cues and things like that. I know in the past, Disney has really tried with interactive cues. They tried in Space Mountain here on the East Coast. They had a huge interactive queue running down the whole queue there, and then of course they're like the Winnie the Pooh ride over here has that interactive wall that you can touch, and then unfortunately they kind of got into that at the wrong time because that was right on the cusp of when smartphones started becoming popular. So they put in all these interactive cues, and then people just started looking at their phones. They weren't necessarily interacting with the world around them as much in line, because even like for example the uh, the queue for Peter Pan on this side is very interactive. You walk through the bedroom and everything else, and there's a lot of things that happen in that queue. And I think people just don't look at that stuff anymore. I think when we get in line now, we're just like killing time by looking at our phones or seeing what's going on, and you know y- you got to stop and look around something, especially at Disney, because there is so much going on, especially in that one scene, in the Peter Pan queue there, where when you're in the bedroom, Tinkerbell's flying around. You can watch her fly around the whole room, and she flies into one of the dresser drawers, and it's a really like a really amazing piece. That was everyone kind of marveled at when the attraction when they when they open that, and then of course now, no one even takes a second glance at it, but it is very, very, very pretty in there. Lisa, I see you shaking your head yes, so I think that you agree.
Oh yeah, no, I it's a favorite, and we've had a pretty nice little tour with someone who made sure to point out everything in that queue, that was interactive. And but there, when we've been through it other times, people aren't even like moving around trying to see things. They have no
Mhm.
idea that anything is going on at all. But it is a great queue. I don't like the wait for Peter Pan, but if I
No one
have
does.
someone who's never been there before, I try to say, well, it's not that bad. We can go ahead and wait through the so you can see the queue. But there's some other queues that have had highly interactive things, like Soren, for example, where
Mhm.
would play the games and there would be tons of people playing. But even then, most people had to play because your cell phone service went down.
That's true,
However,
that's very true.
um, a lot of those interactive cues are not as popular as they once were. I
Yeah,
think we did Mine Train because if everyone spins the barrels at the same time, you get something special during that when all
yes.
the barrels are spinning. And like we had a huge group of people doing that the last time, and there were people that they said they had never seen that. They've been through there many
Yeah.
times. They didn't know.
Well,
So
that's a very hard thing to make happen if you're not a large group. If you're not a large group, it's very hard because there's what, I think 5 or 6 barrels that you have to get spinning
you
at
have
the
to get
same
them all
time,
spinning,
and it's
all at the
very
same
difficult.
right.
And
And so we had a we with my crew. I think we had uh, 4 kids the last time, and then with my best friend's daughter, and then we
mhm,
had um, there was another family behind us, and they had a Canadian accent, and they were like, "Oh, sure, they'll go do it." And then they were so happy they did. Then they continued to tell everyone else behind them, "Hey, get someone so that you can spin." Um, so it was kind of fun, but it broke up the monotony of standing in line too, for
mhm.
sure.
I will say one of the best queues, I think out of all the Disney parks, they actually close it off now, but it was always my favorite, is the Big Thunder Mountain queue, at least on this side. They had a very, very amazing interactive queue that allowed you to set off, detonate TNT, actually right next to the track. You would crank the little detonator, and then you would push it down, and then there'd be an explosion, and it was really awesome. And then they had these little viewing holes where you could view like into like the mines where they were digging, and you could see the canaries in there and see if they're still alive, and all that stuff, and see the canaries down there. So it was a really amazing experience, which I think the reason why they close it is because obviously when you have interactive things like that, people are going to misuse them, and a lot of those things became broken because people are spinning them really fast, or they're not using them like they're intended to be used, and they're not. I mean, Disney is very good. They know to build things that are can withstand that type of destruction because it's going to happen. I mean, they one of the even in that ride they put that picture of Tony Baxter in the ride there. He was like the head prospect or something, and then like within a month of it being there, someone like rode on it, so they had to move it up higher so no one could reach it. So which was crazy to me, but they did. So that was all. So after that incident, they kind of learned that, or well, they already kind of knew, but they really it really cemented the fact that you got to make these things so people cannot, they have to be indestructible almost, which is impossible, but they have to be indestructible because people will go through and just beat the heck out of them, and that's what it is, and that's what happens with a lot of these interactive cues is it just the kids run up to it and get their hands all over it, and the parents not really paying attention, and they just sit there and do this and that, and then it winds up broken, and then those are things that we can't have because you know Disney's not going to spend the money to be constantly fixing these little interactive cute things. They're not really important to the ride, and especially now with people having smartphones. It's a lot. People are not going to they're going to look at their phone and not look at the actual queue. It's one of those things that I've always noticed, especially with like Tron, for example. Tron has the most amazing queue. The most amazing queue. Like just that whole experience of getting into Tron is like fantastic. But again, you know, people care more about the ride than the queue, and I'm that guy that's standing there like taking photos of the cycle, the light cycles, and everyone else is like running to get on the light cycles. And I'm like, well, slow down. You're missing all this amazing stuff around you. The same with like Guardians, for example. Guardians has an amazing queue. But then again, even Guardians on the West Coast has an amazing queue. And a
Mhm.
lot of people, even I mean, a lot of people don't even praise the amazingness or the awesomeness that is the rocket animatronic. That thing, like the first time I saw that, it blew my mind how cool that was. So there's really amazing detail on everything if you really take the time to look around and really enjoy. Pick your head up from your phone every once in a while and look around at the parks and really see what's happening out there. And I guarantee you'll be amazed. There are so many amazing attractions. And looking and speaking of animatronics, I'm really excited for what we're getting at Tiana, Tiana's Bayou Adventure, because the animatronic they just showed a clip of the Tiana animatronic, and it looks just incredible. She's singing and doing the whole thing in her arms, and it's I mean that stuff is just awesome. Like to remember where we came from 15, 20 years ago, or even starting with great moments with Mr. Lincoln, back then, and now where we are now. It's really awesome to see. And if you really want to get a good comparison of that, go to when they open Tiana's Bayou Adventure, go to Carousel Progress and watch Carousel Progress, and then go watch the new animatronics and really see the newer stuff that's out there, and you'll be like, wow, it's like night and day. And it's just the Disney Imagineering team, and their research and development and all these teams that they have. These are some of the brightest people in our country. I mean, they create they make the impossible possible, and it's really amazing to see that in person. And that's part of the reason why I love the park so much.
Yeah, agreed. Mhm.
All right, guys. Well, I think that did anyone have anything left to say before we end this week's show?
No, thank you. Great topic. Thanks for putting me on the spot right at the beginning. Yeah.
She's never gonna let me live that down.
Nope, you're in trouble now.
Oh, I got it.
I can talk to on and to just on about anything, so it's fine.
Well, I'm sorry for doing that, Lisa. I don't know why you caught my eye at first glance, but you did. But
Whatever.
Llewellyn, Llewellyn, we definitely want to thank you for being here this week and joining us. Do you have anything
Thank
you
you.
want to say before we close it out?
No, just have a good St. Patrick's Day. I'm wearing my green early.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode. We definitely thank you for joining us here on Mouse Minds. As always, you can watch us on Tuesdays on YouTube. We live stream every week at 8:30 on YouTube. You can also catch us on all your favorite streaming platforms, whether that be iTunes or Apple Podcasts. I say iTunes. I'm so old. Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts at. We are in there, so be sure to check us out every Friday at 5 p.m. is when the episodes go live. Make sure to download and, of course, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Disney and Beyond, here, where we live stream our podcasts. And, of course, we also do other live streams. I just got a new gimbal, and we'll be walking around the parks with a camera and live streaming in the parks too. So if you guys want to see that, make sure you like and subscribe because I will do that for you guys too. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of Mouse Minds. I definitely want to thank all of you for joining us this week, and I will say have a great rest of your week.
Bye. Bye.